Well,
no, we're good.
All right.
Hey, welcome everyone to Talking After the Show. This is for The Flash All-Star Team Up Season 1, Episode 18. I am Ari Styles, and on Twitter, I am ARI4NNE. I'm one of those people whose name was taken. And so let's head over and you say who you are.
I'm Christopher Schmidt. I am Teleject on Twitter, and I'm a lifelong Wally West Flash fan, I guess. Pretty much. So, yeah.
And joining us is...
I am Flash Johnson, the fastest fan alive. You can find me on Twitter at Flash Johnson or at fastestfanalive.com, which has been updated in a long time. But it'll be soon. Soon, updates will come soon, I promise.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Okay, cool. So welcome everyone. Obviously we're talking about the most recent episode of Flash. Usually we do this right after the show, but I just want to say because I can't help myself, I want to be accurate and say that we're actually recording this a couple of days after because of travel and some other issues.
Work
but usually
issues,
we're right after the show.
Right.
This is the first time in a long time I actually got to watch the show twice before we are talking. And I have to say, part of the reason I watched it twice is because I wanted to tell myself that it was going to get better the second time.
That's
burn. I don't mean it as a burn. Seriously, I wanted to enjoy the show very much. And did not get much better, and some of it got like comically worse.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm trying to be fair and say part of my feeling about this episode being a little silly is that Arrow was pretty intense this week, and there were some tie-ins there because we had crossover with characters and that sort of a thing.
So you're like debasing it. I mean, you're not basing it, but you're debasing it. You're comparing it to other Flash. To other TV shows when you just look at the Flash in a vacuum,
all right,
and compare it to no, not really.
Even though these characters cross over all the time, you know, I just think of the Flash as like the brighter, slicker, younger brother of the Arrow, the show. I mean, not the actual characters. Right. So, and I also think that part of the problem too is when you call something all-star team up, I think, and you can probably go back to previous episodes of this show and we were like, yeah, all-star team up.
We were excited.
Forward to what that's going to be.
Right. That's so excited because like we were like the Trickster, episode, just the last episode, we're like, Mark Hamill, we don't really care what you do in this episode. You can just screw it up. And in fact, that was the last episode was just like Trickster was almost a near perfect episode. And then, we're going like straight into All-Star Team Up. It's going to be beautiful.
Bam!
And they just, we'll talk about my parts later.
That trailer, though. I got to say, that trailer, though. After the Trickster episode aired and that trailer for like a break and then coming back with the All-Star Team Up. It was
right.
Every way of it was positioned in such a way to make us feel like it would be Oliver,
right,
Ray, and Barry teaming up in some crazy, awesome way. Even with, it was just, what?
You are correct on that one. Yeah, I absolutely remember that now that you say that. Like, yes, that's absolutely not matter. Okay. But anyway, so we ended up with, people that are still superstars, but not Oliver. Ray is coming up as the Atom, and I always love Felicity.
Right.
Even though, I don't know if you guys have seen the thing on Saturday Night Live where one of the characters pretends to be the girl in a male-driven romantic comedy.
Oh yeah,
it reminds me of Felicity because she's.
They actually parodied Arrow directly. I was like, "What? SNL parodied the Arrow directly?" Oh my god! What? Amazing.
But yeah, it's so funny because she's like, "I'm super smart, but I'm going to stand in lingerie in front of this refrigerator while I decide to eat."
Yes.
So that's kind of how she's written. But I still enjoy her, even though she occasionally says and doesn't.
Oh, I gotta add though, I do like how they had Ray kind of as the male Felicity.
Yes.
A little bit. It was fun the way that worked a little bit. It was kind of cool seeing it kind of come a male character as opposed to just like Felicity being ridiculous.
Right. And then the other superstar that they didn't really tease, but we probably knew about if you read things, is from The Walking Dead. We had Emily, I'm blanking on her last name, but she was Beth on The Walking Dead. And all I could think to myself is you pulled one of the main characters from Walking Dead, had like this emotional death scene earlier in the year. And, you know, I was thinking to myself, she was on Talking Dead right after she died on the show and was crying. And I was thinking to myself, she was probably crying because her next role, they made her sit in a chair and type on a computer the entire time.
Gigs.
Use this for, you know, we know from Walking Dead that she can sing and she can run around with a gun or a knife and, you know, do all these other things. And
because she typed 36 minutes.
Yeah, now we know she can type, which is great.
I don't know if she can type, but could she act like she can know how to type?
And she had like a little bee-themed outfit on. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was like this really fancy top that just happened to have a honeycomb pattern.
I gotta say, I was this character. I don't know where the character came from. Really, I didn't do enough research. I apologize. Episode left me kind of flat-footed.
Yeah,
I thought Queen Bee at first. You know, Queen Bee, the Italian dictator. That plays men's minds and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I thought her at first, but then I was like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I just said no.
Yeah. So the thing that I like is the potential, like, you know, the yin and yang thing that she had with Felicity, where they're both super smart computer people, but you know, obviously each have very different aims, and also she's, you know, they just captured her, so she has the potential to come back later and, you know, hopefully be a little bit more interesting as a villain, or they, you know, if they would just let her be more interesting, I think she would do great.
Right.
He has his identity.
Yeah.
I mean, think about everything. The camera is multi-directional, so everything. I mean, she's smart in any kind of way she performed. She recorded all that stuff that was going on.
Right. Yeah.
He has the Flash's identity.
Yeah.
It wasn't touched on at all. It was just like, oh, she can see everything around her.
Right.
Oh, she can't see me poking at this thing after I put my costume away.
Yeah. You were absolutely right. So there's potential there. I just kind of feel like even with her introduction, that had a lot of potential that was just kind of squandered.
Right.
So there's that. But so yeah, that was just kind of my, you know, that the episode itself, even though it kind of moved some things forward, it was just kind of, you know, underwhelming. And, you know, Chris will get more into this with his beef segment coming up. But I'll just stand back a little bit and say I enjoyed the kinship a little bit with Ray and Cisco. You know, like they're both good at naming things and they appreciate each other's smarts and that sort of stuff, you know, have a little bit of a bromance going on there. And I appreciated how they appreciate each other and just like watching their friendship and interactions and that sort of thing.
Right. That's pretty good. Yeah.
But yeah, Cisco's having some dreams or daydreams or things, and I know that maybe this is a good segue into Chris's beefs, which this week I think is a pile of beef.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a podcast. Is like, where's the beef, Chris? And I'm gonna tell you, this Flash episode brought the beef. There's so much beef I have with this episode. It's amazing. First, out of the gate, I'm gonna tell the whole plot of this movie of this show, because almost every segment has some serious beef to it. Beef around, I mean, it's just like, first one, Flash is helping his father, his, you know, stepfather, right? He's helping his stepdad's partner arrest criminals who are not blind, right? These people know what's going on. They're
not deaf either, but it better.
Like we have people who are like, threw a guy in for like a naked activity, whatever, bank robbers, whatever. He's stealing their guns. I mean, there's a lot of cool things they could do. like one of the cool things with Flash in the comic book way is like when he flies through a bunch of robbers and gets their guns. That's just a cool visual to see that he got that, and they just totally like blew through that visual.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more a director's fault for that one. But then like he's actively fist bumping his stepdad detective at the scene of a robbery in front of the robbers who have to go to the police jail downtown, get a report, and they'll put in the report, Flash fist bumped this detective in front of me and was really
it's part of the public record.
Really kind of frenzies about it. Right?
Before you continue, I apologize.
Yeah.
But it came to my head real quick.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're corrupt, like in the Starling, like in whatever crime go away, but in the opposite manner.
Yeah.
Because you know they're gonna go to the thing and be like, what? But Blur? What are you?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Are you insane? Huh? What's going on? So I can see that kind of happening in that way, shape, or form. But I see what your point.
Yeah.
Overall is.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't like, and then also he's fist bumping at a scene of crime with jewelry, I guess, or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure there's security cameras there. I'm pretty sure. I'm just like, you may not want to do that. And then also when his stepdad is like put into another car with criminals, and they said like, oh, we gotta wait with it. Oh no, you didn't, because I got a gun. I'm driving at the same time. And then, oh, by the way, here's some handcuffs. Like, you got 3 hands driving this car? I'm like, and he's like joking, like, oh. I was like, seriously, this guy does not want to go to prison.
It's a lot of beef.
He'll just take the steering wheel and just jerk it, and you're like, I'll fly off the thing.
A lot of beef.
We're not even to minute 5 of this episode. I'm like, it's just like, you can just stop now, like, because you could just do one scenario where just like they team up, they have a team up and they just solve this one crime together, like actively, and just like, hey, this is a team up, but then we'll have this other team up with the Ray or whatever. So we actually build on that instead of making it like crazy stupid. Let's just make it a marathon crime busting session. In 15 minutes, we just destroy it. Like we'll just totally abuse anyone's integrity in the career right after the gate. Just like it's okay to have Flash be the vigilante, but then just actively make police vigilantes by association. Yeah, I'm like, you get kicked off the force for that shit. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but well, it's like
all valid points. Don't get me wrong. No,
right. It's the opposite of what's going on Arrow too, because they're like in this mass cleanup mode in Arrow right now for the cops' behavior and everything, and so it's funny to see that parallel as well.
Corruption on a
yes. Yes.
The balance is there.
Yes. Okay. So I know there's more beef.
Yeah.
So let's plow through this beef.
Yeah. So that's one hearty double-decker burger right there. I didn't like. So Iris is just apparently she's a reporter apparently, right?
Yeah.
Although we have like
it's what we hear. We never actually see her reporting.
Yeah. We have her blogging. And then which more power to you guys, blogger, journalist. I just
power.
You know what? Bloggers are the martyr journalists of this generation.
Yeah,
I mean
lazy reporters.
Post without realizing it.
Right. So lazy reporters is all it is. Lazy journalists. That's all it is.
Like, so I'm totally down with journalists as bloggers as journalists, whatever, what have you. And then but then to Iris is like, hey, talks to Eddie like, hey, I noticed you did a lot of work last night because I public records apparently, or I could just ask you what you did last night. And to like, was the Flash working with you? And he could say any number of things, but it's work related or whatnot or whatever. I just feel like I don't know what the beef is there, but I just feel
well, I think he's just a terrible liar.
He's a terrible liar,
and it's just And I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could go round and round about this, but I don't think you could do very well in that job without being able to have a poker face,
right?
And so I'm surprised that he's not able to poker face for her a little bit.
But. Well, like my beef is like with that. I think my beef is that 1, it's your boyfriend. 2, your boyfriend has a job,
Mhm.
So you want him to keep the job, right? You know, unless he's like a crooked cop, and then I would say like you have some issues with it. But at the same time, you don't want to get like involved with like messing up his career. So what you would do
Mhm.
if you were a journalist and not a blogger is that you would actually ask his superior, you would ask his colleague, you would ask around, how did they bust so many people so easily?
Mhm.
You know, you would ask the shopkeeper who were like, you know, who was robbed, attempted rob. You ask the naked guy in the car.
So journalists ask questions.
Right. Yeah.
Ashley, by the way.
Yeah. The Flasher.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you go ask the Flasher about the Flash, and then you're like, and then it's just like,
Huh.
yeah. And, you know, and the fact is that you can actually extend that whole scenario out for several episodes because it'll take like 2 or 5 minutes an episode for her to do that.
Mhm.
And then that way she's not busy pining over Barry for like 15 episodes. She's actually busting her butt trying to find something to work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting something done and moving the story along in
Right,
an
yeah.
interesting way. So, you know, in some ways, my work here is done because now I've got everyone else bitching about how Iris does her job.
I mean, it's just she's so much more. It's funny actually because you know what, they actually tongue in cheek mentioned it.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 of our issues tonight they tongue in cheek mentioned them.
Yeah.
One was the whole Iris thing. She's like, "Do you ever work?" Like, that's what Joe said to her. When do you work? Like, we're doing your job.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What
Yeah.
exactly? Exactly. Yeah.
Another thing I can't remember right now, but I'll probably come to you later on. I don't know.
It'll
All
dawn
right.
on you. Yeah.
All right. So that's another beef sandwich.
There's some more beef.
That's
Okay.
that's like
Do we have more beef?
I got plenty of beef
You
coming,
got plenty
baby.
of beef.
Bring it
Beef's
up.
coming your way. All right.
Oh!
Their beef is Cisco remembering something that happened in an alternative timeline.
Okay, yeah, I knew
Oh my God!
That
I
was-
should have referenced this though.
Uh-huh.
I may have something for that.
Okay, all right. Because like, there's no like, A, it literally did not happen. All right, or B, it did not happen to the Cisco.
Mhm.
Like, there's no way he would.
Well,
remember this.
okay. This is a
Yeah. What's up?
for the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
If there was a Wikipedia entry for this movie,
Yeah.
I mean for this episode, and like where that came from, I'm like, am I watching a Richard Linklater movie? Seriously. Like, how much has everybody been smoking?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a pretty regular thing. I mean, it comes up in Slacker and I think in Waking Life and a few others where he mentions parallel timelines bleeding over into each other
Okay.
sort of thing. And it's, I think it's kind of a regular thing to come up every once in a while
Right.
in any kind of story that messes around with different timelines.
Right.
But I think that your beef
Yeah.
is that the way that they're doing it is
Yeah.
not canon.
Right.
I don't know if Devin has it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. Real quick. Let's take like a couple seconds.
Okay.
Okay,
So
school me.
Cisco Ramon or Francisco Ramon, whatever you want to call him, vibe later on, has his ability to sense like interdimensional portals and such and things that don't really matter or
Okay.
should really be there.
Okay.
On top of that, that's a whole different thing, really. That's just the first thing. Second thing is that there's characters in the DC Universe canon that are immune to time fluctuations, like
Right.
Bart Allen, The Flash, Impulse.
Right.
Was one of those characters where when things would change around him,
Mhm.
he would always be aware because of his weird, out of time kind of thing. So this isn't necessarily, coming out of just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It's not that.
That's what I found. Yeah.
Exactly, pretty much.
Right.
It's in there somewhere. So they can always, pick and choose from the canon and make sure, what's working is working. But that, I
Yeah.
gotta say, it was kind of cool to see that kind of happen, because he can sense this thing's wrong, and it's almost like maybe that experience and sorry, I almost said Wally, and Barry's reversal of the time
Uh-huh.
and everything kind of maybe affected him in a weird way because of just the nature of what happened.
Yeah, and so I agree. I felt a little weird about it, but I was like, well, it's not unprecedented in shows that fool around with, or stories in general that fool around with time.
Mm.
And then also, I just know that, all of us as human beings actually remember something more when there's emotional content involved. And so I think if somebody killed you in an alternate timeline, and we're gonna be in a universe where maybe those things bleed over a little bit, you would remember because you would have a huge emotional reaction to some, especially like your mentor reaching into your chest and ripping out your heart.
On top of that, though, they also mentioned when the whole like particle accelerator went kablooey.
Yeah.
The chemicals, crazy dimensional things, everything kind of just ruptured.
Yeah.
So everything, dimensional walls are weakening per se. I don't know. I mean,
it's all timey-wimey. Is that what you're telling me?
It kind of really is.
Isn't it?
You guys, you're
Chris is gonna get me for saying that later.
And you're trying to get a no prize.
Totally.
Yeah, trying to get
it's all timey-wimey.
I believe science jail before so, but yeah, so like I feel like I like the idea of like where like you could say it's a Cisco's superpower manifesting itself. That would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of good way of doing that.
Okay.
So, but they could probably put, they can backdoor that one into later episodes. But there's just right now, based on what we know, there's like no way that's gonna happen.
Sir, is there more beef?
I got another beef sandwich coming your way. I'm serving beef today, and so I got another beef for you.
We're in a triple decker.
I'm like, I know it's like Ray and Felicity's thing to be like awkward and everything, but to be a superhero and not know your suit of computer gadgets is not waterproof as you're en route with bees behind you. I think that's just a major problem.
Oh, no, he mentioned it.
Yeah.
Remember they were flying and he was just like, going to the water. Oh, short circuit them. He's like, but won't that short circuit me too? And he just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he flies behind in an Iron Man moment.
Right. Yes.
Not repulsor rays. Nanotechnology blast of some kind. And,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like you're like your suit's not gonna. And then second, if you're gonna fight crime, apparently you can only fight it when the weather's really good outside. Just like.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, it falls under the whole approach with the Atom, where he's doing everything kind of half-assed from the beginning,
right?
Because he's so anxious to go out and do it,
right?
And so that I think it kind of falls in line with that for me, because I mean, his other confrontations that he's had so far, there's been various other botched things about it, So on Arrow, it wasn't as much the suit as like him not being half-hearted about fighting,
right? And
so it's like we're watching him tune up.
Right.
The way that we watch Gary tune up
now, even though it's an unproven power thing working. Yeah, I see your point completely. It's definitely leaning more towards his cavalier attitude.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Arrow, if I'm speaking too many comparisons this week, but
it's a vacuum, baby.
Yeah, I know. Things that on Arrow we get to see his tune up in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of cooked already as a hero.
Right.
He's good, he's on top of his game, he knows what he's doing, but we get to see how he became who he is through flashbacks versus what we're seeing with the Atom and with the Flash. We get to kind of watch them cook a little bit, and part of their stories sometimes is that things happen when you're not completely ready yet, when you're not completely cooked.
Right.
Well, I will say that Oliver was never really completely cooked because he had to get to a point where he wasn't killing people right and left.
Yeah.
He was always learning, even though he wasn't necessarily, Flash and Atom are way new superheroes. So it's a completely different thing, but the Arrow was trained as a killer. He wasn't trained as a savior or a hero. So, that was something that came later on, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But I will mention one thing real quick.
No problem.
The awesome $6 Million Man reference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Kind of cool. Yeah. Sorry, I watched a whole bunch of old TV shows when I was a kid. Apologize.
That is such a common thing to say, is I didn't realize until just now that I was like, oh yeah, that is where that came from.
Yeah.
Because it's such a common thing for people to say.
Yeah.
And also a reference to the fact that he got, spoiler for Arrow who haven't watched anything, which you should be watching it. Sorry if you're not. But he had the nanotechnology injected into his heart. He was rebuilt. We have the technology. I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't know. Little references like that kind of get me a little bit. But I did have to say one thing, though, real quick.
Yes.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Hate to mention something from the competitors, sorry. Marvel.
That's quite all right.
But I marathoned that thing.
Yeah.
And after marathoning that and then watching some Flash, I gotta love Flash. I really love Flash. It's great.
Right. Yeah.
But this is an off episode to begin with.
Uh-huh.
That compared with like just crazy, awesome drama and well-delivered lines and brilliant acting with a little bit of corniness, but only enough to make it really work.
Right. And feel like a superhero.
What?
Yeah.
But watching it again, though, it was better.
Mm-hmm. Understandable completely. And I mean, this could be a whole separate show, but I think part of what you were seeing too is we're blurring the lines now with like shows made directly for Netflix, for example, versus like cable versus network and that sort of thing. And so CW is a network, and they're following a lot of the network rules, as far as like formatting and, what they can and can't show and what they censor. And
there's a couple episodes that in Daredevil like it would not work in television. Like,
it would not make so we've been enjoying Daredevil too. Chris has seen the whole thing and I've seen a lot of it. But and it's wonderful, and it's the I personally am huge on the watch when you want Netflix attitude about things, that I think kind of came to rise with DVRs and everything. And now Netflix is kind of one of the blossoms of that. And so it's great because they also don't have like scene structure that's built around showing commercials.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's kind of like they have more freedom and in that regard. And so when you have writers that are good and can work with a different set of boundaries, you end up with a really great show. So I haven't seen the whole thing, but I endorse Daredevil for sure. And I think that with the Flash and the Arrow, they've got different constraints. And I don't know yet about Netflix versus CW, but I'm guessing that there's more availability for people to see the Arrow and the Flash because they're on a network, but I'm not sure how much longer that's going to be true.
Right.
Well, I mean, the ad space and all that stuff all comes into everything. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, we saw a thing that was like Netflix added 4.9 million subscribers the first quarter of this year. And how a Netflix account works is probably, it's like roaches. It's like for every one account, there's probably 2 or 3 people watching it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much longer those numbers hold.
Yeah, I think I still want to just compare Flash to Flash, and I think like all the other episodes, like I think we could kind of compare Green Arrow to Flash, but Daredevil is like had just for all intents and purposes a blank check and no real like executives telling them what to do. They didn't have to. They were pretty much more constrained by comic book tropes or like cliches rather than TV, main primetime TV and stuff like
more
that.
I mean, it's so hard, I think, because I just think it's not really apples to apples here.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm thrilled to see more comic books be inspiration for other media. And also, maybe we can put the Ben Affleck Daredevil behind us now for good.
That costume was way better than this one, though. I'm sorry. That suit looked sick. It's still,
to be honest,
in my opinion. I'm sorry. It was.
No, it's cool. I have to tell the truth and say I don't think I've seen more than 15 minutes of the other Daredevil because it was.
You didn't miss much. I mean, although I will say, Director's Cut is actually surprisingly well-rounded as a film. But anyway, whatever. Daredevil.
I don't know.
Totally understandable. Another comparison that I've been thinking about a lot lately too, and I mean they're both on the same network. We've been talking about Arrow a lot, Arrow and Flash, where we're kind of talking a lot on the Flash about how people are getting started, like getting started as heroes, or
origin stories,
starting there. A lot of origin stories. Or Iris is getting started as a journalist and hasn't found Wikipedia yet. That sort of a thing. And, I feel a lot like, we've mentioned this before, but Arrow is a couple years further into the story.
Yes.
But the other thing that's happening there is that everybody on Arrow has a poker face. I mean, there's just so many secrets, and I think that's part of what makes it kind of dark. And
well, it's also kind of soap opera. I think it's like
watch.
In terms of like they deliver a line and then they have to wait 5 seconds and someone walks away. That's total soap opera-ish, right? Like where Arrow, I think for Flash they have to like actually interact a little bit more and stuff like that. So but I think that the ability,
there's like this boiling thing slowly underneath Arrow, because so many people have secrets that they're keeping, and they, occasionally get revealed. But versus the Flash, I mean, his big secret, really, the only one is that he's keeping his identity.
Not really even a secret, really, at this
point.
Right. Off. Everyone knows who you are, dude. Stop even bothering wearing. Why you want to wearing it anymore?
Pretty much.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing though.
Right. It's a lot more out in the open, and people kind of tripping over as they're learning.
Okay, I want to say this though. I didn't feel like Arrow was one of those shows though where they didn't really have a lot of room to just kind of just do what they wanted to do off the break.
Yeah.
It had to kind of embrace more of those CW type tropes or whatever you want to call them, to really catch on. And then now that the Flash is out of the gate, they're not really focusing so much on the soap opera element. I mean, they're still there, obviously. They have to be there because the CW show, boom, bam. But at the same time, they have a much more freedom to kind of move about and do what they need to do as far as developing superheroic storylines. It's way more fantastical, and it's going to be that way for a long time.
Yeah. So what I meant by soap opera was more like the way they delivered their lines, and then they just walk off the set or something. They're just like, I'm here to tell you this line, and then we're gonna cut the scene after 5 seconds.
Eddie,
the next scene.
Eddie, I feel like we're not connecting, and on a emotional level, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Break. Great job, Devin. You're really
TV now. Yeah, okay.
We're gone.
I'll do this CW thing. Okay, well, I don't want to disappear too far up of our own respective.
This is the best episode of Where's the Beef, Chris, I have ever had.
I know, but my next question is, sir, is there more beef?
I've got one more beef sandwich going on.
Hunk of beef.
Yeah, this is like the granddaddy beef sandwich. I mean, it's almost summertime. Chris is barbecuing out there.
I'm so amazing.
Type beef.
It's clean so far. I'm just saying.
You keep it eating because I keep on serving it. But yeah, my biggest beef is just like so Eddie's having problems with Iris, and Felicity or I forgot who it was, but I think it was Felicity or whatever recommended, hey, you're having problems communicating with your girlfriend. How about Barry? You come with us, Felicity and Ray.
Your other husband just can join us.
You're the third wheel and the third person in the love triangle. We're not really doing anything. By the way, my boyfriend is rich, billionaire rich.
This won't be awkward at all.
Your love of your life is dating a cop who probably has no money, right? So also, what we need to do is, because you're having communication issues, we need to go out for dinner, probably introduce alcohol into the mix.
Yes.
And then your communication problems are going to be awesome because you're looking at us.
And also the fishbowl effect of being the only people in the entire restaurant.
Right, yeah. So like I was like, okay, maybe we can like work with the ambiance in the restaurants and pull some like work the crowd like magic into the conversation. But we walk into a restaurant and the whole thing is like bought out, and like I was like, hey Ray, way to go. You just C blocked everyone in the restaurant. There's this really great job.
Good thing for Barry, by the way. Barry's just in there between this one and this one.
Yeah.
Both of whom he's like whatever over. it's just like,
right. I was just like,
I
was like,
no play tonight. No play. No play.
That is looking better and better. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I was just like, how can you even write that as a scene to have in this episode? It's just like, well, I gotta have people. I gotta have them.
I think they did it because it's deliciously awkward.
Yeah. I was just like, it was like the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I was just like, it was like, hey, we're from out of town. We didn't tell you that we're coming. By the way, oh, you just told us you have love problems? Bam. Hey, we'll take you guys out to a fancy restaurant.
Awkward dinner. That would make things much better because you'll see in comparison how much worse the problems are compared to yours. No.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, I mean, the only way that dinner could have gotten better is Darth Vader showed up.
Yes,
like, you know, just like, that's
you need one more major beef, sir. one big slab of beef on that plate. You're missing it.
Okay, go.
Episode called All-Star Team Up.
Oh man.
How are they teaming up? What's going on?
Dinner. Yeah.
It was Flash fighting the bees by himself and then getting wrecked by bees, first of all. Really? You learned how to vibrate last episode. And now you can't fight bees. That's kind of wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we're going to vibrate through walls.
Right, exactly.
This episode.
Yeah.
And then you can't fight bees.
Yeah, he's great at CPR, so awesome.
Yeah.
P4 generates electricity now? When did that happen?
Exactly. I was just like,
that does not exist.
Yeah, so like when the new Flash came out, they added lightning bolts to his running around, like whatever, which is like always been decorative. It's always been kind of like, oh, he's running Flash, right? He's running fast, you know, because he's the Flash, whatever. There's actually no electricity in the Speed Force. It is only decoration.
There's a reason behind the electricity effect that they have.
Right.
Basically, the energy they produce while their muscles process the Speed Force create a after effect that looks like lightning. But literally, you're right. It's just for effect. There's no what the? I'm just like, how did this get past anyone?
Like, yeah.
John's like, you sitting here watching this thing like, oh, I think the Flash should. Oh, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of it? No, it's horrible. What?
Yeah. Do you know how many scorched pathways he'd be making if he was just actually giving off electricity? Like he'd be burning people alive with electricity, just walking, running down the street. It's amazing. I'm like, okay, that's a good beef, sir. I actually have one more beef.
Oh my goodness!
Because I am giving it. Because they gave it to me. Well, watch it with my eyeball. They give it right to my eyeball, so I need to give it out there. It was just like, okay, so at the end of the episode, Barry's like, "Oh no, wall of bees! If only I could run somewhere." It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, oh, by the way, I'm in over my head. Where can I go? I don't know. I can vibrate through a truck, but I can't get away from some bees.
Vibrate through these bees. They're just there. And they're like waiting there, like hovering all crazy. I'm like, first of all, okay, if we're really going by the Flash's, like his perception, you know, the way he sees things in time,
right.
These bees are literally moving. He could have literally smash. They're
literally moving slower than bullets.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like bumblebees. I mean, it's like.
I am telling you, this is why the woman was crying on the couch from the walking. Knew what was coming.
I have a great part in Flash coming up.
It's gonna be a very difficult episode to stomach, but maybe I'll come back as a cool super villain.
I'll be back.
So a couple other beefs is that I just need, now I'm getting kind of done grilling all day, guys.
Okay.
I need to plow through this last beef.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some Pepto here.
One, she's a hacker. She's dressed too well for her to be a hacker. She actually went out of her way. Like, I understand going out of her way.
Well, it's like Felicity.
Yeah, she goes out of her way. Yeah, the keyboard battle that apparently like.
Why do things always explode?
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, she typed too fast.
Why do they always explode? But she's still typing.
Right, I know.
It apparently exploded, but it doesn't matter because she still can use the the short-circuited keyboard that's wrecked beyond belief. But somehow she's still typing away. Sorry. Your beef is my beef now, sir. Your beef is my beef now. I've internalized your beef. I feel your beef. I'm
pulling you up with the beef, man.
Oh my God. Okay, we kept it clean up until now, and I would like to keep it away. Yeah.
You think as computer experts, you realize there's been a recall because there's actually like TNT in the keyboard. You know, just it's like, oh man, I'm working on the TNT keyboard. I gotta turn this back in.
There's like a speed limit on the top of the keyboard or something.
Just like,
yeah.
So, but
no more than 120 words a minute.
Yeah, so like my beef is like also is just like at the end, Barry like saves the day by what? Slapping her in the chair, and there's like it's the worst part. You have to go back and watch the episode. Is when Barry's done with the bees. Barry's done with the bees. She like hits her right in the chair, and she's got to act like this.
Yeah.
I used to be a Walking Dead. That's what she's realizing right there.
You were using 1/100th of my potential. Yeah.
You have HD.
Yeah.
What is it?
No one's got HD, right? No one's seen this.
Burning down her eye.
That's awesome. Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Right. And so
I promise on that. Oh, multi something. I mean,
right.
Damn. You read that stuff? Right. Did you read that before you just signed on arbitrarily? Oh, here we go. With a flash now. Hey. Sorry, lady. I don't know your name. Okay. I apologize.
Okay.
So like, so my beef is like, Flash could have gone after her, getting her away from the keyboard.
Oh wow!
And then the bees could have been like, I have no idea. I don't know what to do. Bees. What do you guys say? Bees? Like, I don't know. Let's just die or something. I don't know. Whatever. Like
flop. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like you could have just gone after her first instead of like,
right.
Oh my gosh.
Close enough. He could have easily like crisscrossed some wires in her setup or something. I mean, anything. Unplugged their system. I mean, what? There's a socket right there. Unplugged. Finish.
Yeah.
No. I win.
Yeah.
I mean, we got suspend disbelief though. We do.
Yes.
I don't know. I built the whole suspension bridge in my family room.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It was a pretty massive suspension bridge.
Yeah.
So
there's no room for the couch really.
It was good to see Amanda Pays back.
Yes.
That was probably my bright spot there. That's the burger. Like, okay,
yes, lots of sci-fi fans.
Are you gonna buzz me?
All right. Well, that's the end of Where's the Beef, Chris?
That was great a lot episode. Of beef.
We crossed a lot of TV shows, a lot of genres there. Thanks, you guys. But
and this episode is kind of long, so I'm wondering how much other things we need to cover.
Well, it's up to Devin now. Devin's in the.
Well, I gotta say, I'm pretty psyched in general. Great week coming up. Birthday coming up soon. The big 3-0.
Nice.
Diving. You know, Crimson and Free Fall, Starling and Free Fall going on. Be awesome. And then I also got an awesome shipment in today of some sick stuff.
Oh, really?
Flash figures in. Nice. I have 4 overall. I'm keeping 2.
That's
all I gotta say about it.
All right.
2.
Right. Okay. So I think we might have a little something for viewers later in the season. We're working on a contest for the finale, for the season finale. And so we'll let you in on the details for how to win one of those sweet action figures next week.
Right.
They're beautiful, though.
Okay.
One very last thing, though.
No, go for it.
Now, I'm wearing this shirt here.
Yeah.
Blue shirt, the Blue Lantern of Hope.
Right.
The next episode will be better. I'm praying. I'm praying.
Yes.
Overall, though, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was just, it should have been so much more. And it was just so much of, it required just so much of just, that I can't think about that.
Yeah.
I can't think about that. I can't think about any of this because otherwise I'll be like, what?
I know. I know.
Hope.
It's hard.
Exactly.
I have hope too.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we also we want to like if there's nothing else, I think we should end on like we've been critiquing. We got some free entertainment this week. I feel like we should give back in some positive way in terms of like adding some lines that we could feel like could make the script better. So I think we have a few lines. This is Can you set the scene? What's the scene?
I've been thinking about calling this segment. I mean, because there's an example every week. It just so happened that this week was a particularly shining example of dialogue. More importantly, Iris dialogue, because I don't pretend that everyone has the same issues that I do, but there's those moments where you're like, what?
Yeah.
And you hear some conversations and dialogue and sort of things. And so I think because it came toward the end of the episode that we were, we had the full suspension bridge going on in the living room that Chris mentioned.
We got 3 people working on that suspension bridge.
Suspension of belief bridge. We were a little weary toward the end. And Iris had a moment with Eddie at the end that we felt could have ended a little bit differently.
Right.
So I'll play Iris in this, and Christopher is going to be Eddie.
Nice. Okay, thanks.
And he's...
Hey, look, I have the shirt on.
There you go. And so this is the dialogue, but with a new suggested ending that occurred to both of us simultaneously while we were watching the show. So
all right, really? Okay, awesome. Okay, so set the scene. What's the table? Where were we? This
is after Iris and Eddie are having relationship problems.
This is after the dinner, right?
Yeah, this is after the dinner, and after she's spoken to Barry about why she and Eddie are distant and having issues.
Okay.
And so she's thought long and hard about this. And so she goes to Eddie to talk to him about their relationship.
That's good. You gotta talk things out.
And here we are. Setting, police office. Okay. I'll be Iris. When you love someone, you tell them everything. So if you love me, Eddie, you'll tell me what is going on with you or
what?
You know what?
Chicken butt.
And see.
All right. Yeah. Good eps, guys. Good eps.
What the hell? That's awesome.
No, we both were like, I think it was at the end of the episode, and we're both really punchy. And when that scene came up, and he was like, "Oh, you know what?" and we were like, "Chicken butt," both of us. Seriously?
Oh, awesome.
But anyway, so yeah, and any shrink I think would tell you that Iris is pushing Eddie away because of her subconscious feelings for Barry, but it's painful to watch it play out, I think. Yeah,
it's hilarious that before they had issues with Iris having to rebuff him based on his lightning psychosis. And now she's feeling all about like, hey, well, Eddie and I are having these issues now. Want to try again? Like, I mean, what is going on?
Yeah.
Okay. But I feel like that's a good place to kind of say, hey.
All right, David. Where can people find you on the webs?
Oh, first of all, awesome freaking shirt, by the way. That thing is sick.
Oh, thank you.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, it's a site called T Fury. TE.
T Fury? Did I miss one?
Yeah, it was a double header too. So
you've got both colors.
Yeah.
The last one I wore was a T Fury shirt.
Oh.
They have great shirts. They have awesome shirts. I love their artwork. It's fantastic. But sorry, you can find me on the web at fastestspinalive.com, which will be updated soon. And at Flash Johnson on Twitter, which
awesome. All right, Ari.
Oh, I'm Ari Styles. You can find me on Twitter, ARI4NNE, and usually here every week, right after the show, talking after the show. And you are?
I am Christopher Schmidt. I am on TELEJECT, Teleject on Twitters, and I'm usually here on after the show too.
Yes.
So yeah, awesome. Good episode.
Hey guys.
All right, you guys. Probably live on Tuesday. So after the show, so we should be back on things. But I'm glad we waited this long because, man, that was a lot of beef to process. So
Yeah, and I was like, of all the shows for me to watch twice before,
it's the ones you
I'm like,
ones with the
oh,
most beef.
geez. Yeah.
You know, it's funny though because I usually watch these episodes. I'm a loser. I'm sorry, I am. I watch episodes like at least 10 times usually after they go off the air. At least 10 times. I put it on in the background sometimes, just chilling, whatever. I just put down there and watch it for a while. This episode I watched like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Upset me. I was
seriously. And each time I was like, seriously.
Yeah, I just the second time we watched it, I just like I didn't get up. Yeah, so like I kind of forced myself to watch the second one. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. See everyone next week. I think it can only get better from here.
I hope so.
All right. Bye.